Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan, and in this video I'm going to discuss some of the strategies that I use to make shooting film more affordable. It is currently April 2023, and I wanted to put this together because the most recent price increase from Kodak is beginning to take effect, and I don't want the high sticker shock of film prices to dull the rising interest in film photography that we've witnessed over the past 5 years. Shelling out $35 for a roll of Portra, including development and scanning, comes out to nearly $1 per shot, which frankly is a lot to ask of a newcomer and even a passionate hobbyist. In this video though, I'm going to show you how I shoot film for less than $3 per roll. Even though I have been shooting film for some time now and I have some very expensive cameras in my collection, I am still new to uploading film photography content here on YouTube, and I don't want to establish or continue to perpetuate the notion that film photography is prohibitively expensive to get started in, because it doesn't have to be. This video will be broken up into 4 sections, and I'll leave the chapters in the description below so you can skip around if you want to. I'll also be referring to 35mm format because I feel like that's the most broadly relatable, but a lot of these strategies can be extrapolated to use for other formats as well. I'm also going to try and be as concise as possible, but I did write a much longer article with a lot more detail that I'll leave in the description as well. A typical roll of 36 exposures is about 63 inches long and comes in an individually packaged cassette. Bulk loading refers to the process of taking larger rolls of 100, 400, or even 1,000 feet and cutting them down into those 63-inch sections and spooling them into those individual cassettes to use in your stills camera. A 100-foot roll typically yields about 18 cassettes of 36 exposures, while a 400-foot roll will yield about 72 rolls. 100-foot rolls are a really good place to start, and you can get 100-foot rolls of black and white film at various speeds for as little as $65, which brings the cost per roll to just $3.50. You can buy a used bulk loader for 100-foot rolls on eBay for as little as $50, some cases even less, and you can buy big boxes of 35mm cassettes that have only been used one time from labs and things like that, and those can be reused for bulk loading over and over. Some of the real savings begin when you move into the 400-foot rolls. These are the rolls they use in the big cinema cameras to make feature films in Hollywood, for example. When I first started with these 400-foot rolls, I would cut them down into 100-foot lengths so I could fit them into my 100-foot bulk loader. This was a little bit tedious, but it was totally doable. Since then, I have upgraded to a 400-foot loader from Reservat. These are a little bit expensive, but it was worth it to me for the convenience of being able to put the entire 400-foot roll in one loader at one time. The really neat thing about 400-foot rolls is that you can get color film as well, such as Kodak Vision 3 films like 50D and 500T. Those are the same films that Cinestill 50D and 800T are based on, just with the remjet still on them. And you can get those 400-foot rolls for $365, which brings you down to $5 per roll. Personally, I really like Orwo UN54, which is a cinema film, and you can get 400-foot rolls of that for as little as $200, which brings the cost to under $3 for a roll of 36 exposures. The next topic is developing your own film at home. This does require a little bit more dedication to the medium given the additional equipment that you need and the chemicals required, but you might be surprised at how low the barriers to entry are, especially if you buy used equipment to start out with. I currently live in a 1-bedroom apartment, but even my small bathroom is enough space to develop my own film, and then I can store everything I need conveniently in my closet because it doesn't take up too much space. To compare, I'm going to quote some prices from The Darkroom, which is a popular mail-in service for developing and scanning film here in the US. Their fee for development and low-res scans of black and white film or color negative film is $12 per roll and $15 per roll for color slide film. You can pay more if you want higher resolution scans, but let's just start with the base options to begin with. So for this example, let's call it 30 rolls for $400 as the threshold/budget. The nice thing about this strategy and the other strategies is that the economies of scale kick in pretty quickly, so if you're developing a lot of film, you can save a lot of money really fast. Broadly speaking, there are 3 categories for developing. You have black and white, color negative, and color slide. There is a lot of overlap for the equipment that you need for each of these processes, but you will need a different set of chemicals for each process. For all 3 processes, you will need a daylight developing tank, a changing bag to load the film into the development tank in complete darkness, and several plastic storage bottles. These don't have to be fancy, they can literally just be reused soda bottles. Black and white is arguably the cheapest, easiest, and most accessible of the developing processes because the temperature required is roughly room temperature, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So in the summer, I just use an ice cube to lower the temperature of the water if I need to, and in the winter, I boil some water to bring it up to temperature if I need to. Other than that, all you really need is a developer and a fixer. The Massive Dev Chart is a free online resource for black and white film developing, and it's really valuable because it houses all of the different film types with all of the different developer types and shows you all of the combinations and recipes between those two. I've used just about every film and developer that is currently available, but I've settled on 2 that work very well for me. Those would be D96 and Rodinal. D96 is a reusable developer designed for black and white cinema film. I buy the 1 liter powdered concentrate kits from Cinestill for about $6. I find that I can use this for 20 rolls of film with a little bit of compensation, bringing the cost per roll to just 30 cents. Rodinal is a single-use developer that's a tried and true classic, been around for ages, and the concentrate has a really long shelf life of over 10 years if you store it correctly, so it's perfect if you don't shoot as frequently and you need something that's going to last a long time. A 500 milliliter bottle of Rodinal costs about $12, and I use it at a 1:50 dilution, so 1 part Rodinal concentrate to 50 parts water, and this lasts me about 100 rolls, bringing the cost per roll to just 12 cents. Typically, I use tap water as my stop bath for film developing, so that's free to me, and the only thing left that I need is fixer. I buy the 1 liter bottles of concentrate for $16, and that lasts me about 100 rolls as well, which is just 16 cents per roll. So when you add it all up, that means for black and white film, my cost per roll for developing is just between 30 and 50 cents. Color negative and color slide film require a development temperature of around 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and the best way to achieve this is with a water bath. I bought a cheap plastic bin to hold the water, and I bought a sous vide immersion heater off of Amazon for I think like $45 or $50 several years ago, and that works perfectly for me. Color negative uses the C41 process, and I buy the 1 liter powdered concentrate kits for this as well. These cost $30, and I found that as long as I use the chemicals within 90 days, I can put 30 rolls through them and get high quality results for all of them. This cuts the cost to just $1 per roll. Color slide film uses the E6 process, which is the most sensitive and the most expensive, costing about $55 for a 1 liter kit, and this gets about 10 rolls of film for $5.50 per roll, which is still only about 1/3 the cost of getting it developed in a lab. Usually, I'll try and save up between 5 and 10 rolls between sets of chemicals so that I know I can use them to their capacity within the time frames that I've found worked best. The third topic is scanning your own film. There are many famous purpose-built film scanners, but a lot of them are now very old, very expensive, very slow, or relatively low resolution. Camera scanning has emerged as a modern solution for digitizing film, and in my opinion, it also yields the fastest and the best results. Essentially, what this means is holding your negatives up to a light source, taking a picture of them with a digital camera, and then using software on your computer to invert them. A lot of us already have digital cameras, or we have access to digital cameras, and the truth is you don't need a fancy brand new high resolution full frame camera to do this successfully, because you're not using autofocus, you're not using video, and so an older used camera can also work really effectively. I also recommend using a manual focus macro lens, and you can get old lenses from Canon or Nikon that are very inexpensive and may even work on your film cameras as well. You'll also need a way to hold your negatives against a light source and keep them a fixed distance from your camera lens. There are a lot of very expensive options, but more recently there have been several affordable options such as the Veloy EZ35, which also eliminates the need for a copy stand, and then I think you can get that for as little as $150. Lastly, you'll need some software to invert your negatives. There are some dedicated applications like FilmLab app that don't require any other software, but personally I found Negative Lab Pro, which is a plugin for Lightroom, works best for me, and I already use Lightroom anyway, so it was a no-brainer to me. Lastly, I wanted to talk quickly about the cameras themselves. Hasselblads, Leicas, Mamiyas, and Xpans get a lot of attention on social media for very good reason, but they are very expensive. And there are affordable options that are extremely high quality. The article linked below goes into a lot more detail about some of the more affordable options available, but for now I just wanted to talk quickly about a camera that's very close to my heart. This is actually my first camera, my first film camera that is, the Canonet QL17. This is a compact rangefinder camera that is all metal, all mechanical. There is a light meter built in, but you can operate it just fine without a battery. And it's a beautiful camera with a really sharp lens. I love the size, and I can't say enough good things about this camera. I still use it regularly, and you can get these in very good condition for as little as $200 or even less sometimes if you're willing to take a gamble. Anyway, that's all I've got for this one. I know that's only a few of the many strategies available, so please let me know in the comments below if you have any that I missed or if you have experience using any of these strategies yourself. This is a small and new YouTube channel, so I have the time and the bandwidth to respond to all of the comments that you have. So until the next one, keep shooting film.